Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a good day. Today I want to talk about an idea that I would love to pitch to Aspyr, who's making this KOTOR remake, that I feel like could really enhance the replayability of this remake compared to the 2003 version of KOTOR. Now, don't get me wrong, KOTOR back in 2003 did have replayability, and we'll kind of get into that later into this video, but I feel like with just one thing that could actually come from another BioWare game, that's kind of the funny thing about my idea, is that KOTOR, the KOTOR game that Aspyr is remaking, it was made by BioWare. The idea that I'm having for this enhancing of replayability is actually coming from the Mass Effect series, another BioWare game. So BioWare has a lot of influence in this KOTOR game, and at least one thing I would love to see introduced and help with enhancing the replayability of this. So let's get into this. First, let's discuss this, and we'll probably get into this in another video as well, but I do want to talk about this because it has a lot to do with this remake and how it's financed and how it's actually being made. Now, the one thing a lot of people have been talking about is this PlayStation exclusive deal with KOTOR, and that is the reason behind that is because Sony is putting a lot of money into this, and this is one thing I'll probably talk in a different video. The rumor is that Sony is putting so much money into this, and they are wanting to make sure the graphics for KOTOR are amazing. They are just above and beyond when it comes to what they can do graphic-wise with new consoles and new PCs and setups and stuff like that. They are putting so much money and so much effort into this KOTOR and making sure that it just blows the socks off of people when it compares to the old game back in 03. And again, that's one thing, at least when it comes to this Aspyr game, or what Aspyr is doing, is that they need to knock this out of the park. And when it comes to graphic-wise, from what I'm understanding from the rumors, is that, yes, graphic-wise, the game's going to knock it out of the park. But one thing that I think would help with this game just being above and beyond what the old game could do. Yes, Sony can put in so much money into the graphics. Yes, they could be changing the combat system. Yes, they could be changing this and that with this game. But I think one thing that would help with this game's success is being able to increase the amount of time that players are putting into this game. Look, one thing that a lot of companies out there do when it comes to making a game is how do we keep players interacting in the game? How do we keep them in their seats with a controller in their hand or with a mouse and keyboard in their hand and continue to play the game over and over and over again? How do we do that? Well, one game in particular was able to do that, which was Mass Effect. Back in 2007, I think is when the Mass Effect game came out, they came out with a way of being able to replay Mass Effect's game and keeping you invested in the character you create. Now, you could be somebody that had played Mass Effect, you never made a customized character at all. You kept the same old Commander Shepard look. But if you were somebody out there that created a look for your own Commander Shepard, you became invested in it. You became invested in your character. You became invested in the characters you met. You became invested in the storyline and the decisions you made towards the end of the game, to where you got to the end of the game and that was it. However, in Mass Effect, BioWare made a replayable thing to where you would actually take that character that you created in Mass Effect and replay the game on harder difficulties, continuing to level up that character, continuing to gain attributes, continue to gain different leveled up gear, being able to get the higher and higher gear depending on what level of difficulty you had, but also being able to make different decisions through that during that playthrough. Maybe hopefully I'm not ruining this, maybe Rex didn't survive, maybe you were not able to coerce or talk to or use your charisma to keep Rex alive towards the end of Mass Effect, and he died through your first playthrough, but you played it a second time and you were able to keep him alive. That's the type of things that BioWare was able to do with this thing, where you actually play with the same character through another playthrough and keep you invested in the character that you created. Yes, you had an option of being able to create a new character, create different storylines, be able to create different abilities, whether it's a Vanguard or a soldier and stuff like that, or a sentinel and stuff. You could do that. You could create a different playthrough and create different classes and stuff like that. But if you were invested in the soldier class and you wanted to do a different playthrough and have different decisions, Mass Effect allowed you to do that with that. However, compared to KOTOR, again, there's a 4-year gap. BioWare made Mass Effect in 2007, and they also made KOTOR back in 2003. So there's a little bit of gap. But in KOTOR in 03, you didn't really have an option whatsoever to replay that game and make different decisions with the same character. You created one character, whether it was a scoundrel, a smuggler, a soldier, whatever it might be. You were able to, select different outlooks for your character, cosmetic-wise, facial-wise. But through your playthrough, you made different decisions, and you were stuck with those decisions. And once the game was over, you were not allowed to replay the game with that one character that you created. So the investment that you had in that character ended as soon as the game ended. Now maybe you created saves and stuff like that through your playthrough and whatnot. You can go back to different save points and make different decisions that way. But once the game ended in 03, in KOTOR 03, once the game ended, that character was done. You couldn't really replay that character whatsoever. You had to create a new character or go to a new load point with the character that you were invested in. That is what I want to change for this KOTOR remake. That is what I would love to see introduced in this KOTOR remake, because looking back at the storyline of KOTOR, there are so many different outlooks in that game to where I could chose this instead of this. I could have made this decision and not instead of that. Or even when it comes to the different classes that you could pick or the different attributes, different things. I mean, the funny thing is, looking back at the old KOTOR game, if maybe your charisma was not high enough, you couldn't talk to certain characters or be able to persuade them in certain things, and it would lock you out of different dialogue and stuff like that. Mass Effect was the exact same way when it comes to the Paragon and persuasion level that you had in that game. If you were not a Paragon or a Renegade level of a certain level in that game, you would not have Renegade or Paragon different types of conversations you could have in Mass Effect. It all pertained on your replayability and being able to create these different attributes and being able to replay these games, gain different attributes, gain these levels would actually unlock different dialogue options and being able to create different outcomes. And that's the crazy thing of looking back at compared to 03 KOTOR and compared to BioWare with the Mass Effect and what they were able to do with that, being able to have this replayability and be able to be able to level up, being able to gain different attributes, Renegade, Paragon, and then being able to play through, gain levels, and be able to even have different selections of dialogues through another playthrough was something of a revolutionary idea when it comes to being able to gain a connection to the character and being able to be invested in what you create. I want that exact same thing in this KOTOR game. If anybody's out there that's played KOTOR, you know exactly how many different dialogue options or different outcomes can happen depending on what your attribute level might be. Maybe your persuasion's not well. Maybe, you know what, here's an idea. What about intelligence? If you don't have intelligence high enough and you want to do, maybe there is a robot, a drone that you want to hack into, repair, and have that drone hunt down the enemy in certain areas throughout the KOTOR game, your intelligence might not be high enough, or you might not have a high enough attribute or skill in certain things to where you couldn't do certain things. Maybe hack something, maybe hack a computer. But however, if you're able to do multiple playthroughs, you can gain these different attributes. You can gain these certain levels or skills to where through your second playthrough, it might be easier or harder depending on what your difficulty is, but you're able to do so much more things depending on what your persuasion is. Maybe your light or dark side level. You're having different conversations, different selections of conversations with people that can give you different outcomes. Or, like I said, when it comes to hacking terminals or hacking droids and stuff like that, where you could use them to your advantage to be able to clear out areas a little bit easier or make your passage a little bit easier. There's different outcomes that could be introduced with a replayable thing like this compared to what Mass Effect was able to do. If you're able to replay KOTOR again, gain that incentive to replay a character because you're going to get different options or be able to be invested in this character to gain different feats or different, I mean, hell, maybe you played through as a Jedi and you want to do an entire playthrough as a soldier with just a weapon. You could be able to do that with this replayability of being able to replay this character and gain different attributes, gain different feats, gain different force abilities and stuff like that. I would love to see this introduced in this game because I think when it comes to the KOTOR game back in 03 or even KOTOR 2 and the different things they added to that game when it comes to force abilities or even just different feats and attributes, I think this game, the KOTOR remake, could be so beneficial to have this replayability of being able to beat the entire game, take that same character and replay the entire campaign, maybe at a higher difficulty, and just be able to play the game in a different way. Maybe you made light side choices in one playthrough. You want to take that character with all the different upgrades and stuff like that and different equipment and stuff and replay the entire game, be invested in that character, and make dark side choices. There's a lot of things that could happen with a replayability system similar to what Mass Effect was able to do with this KOTOR game that I think when it comes to this remake could blow it out of the water and again make something new. It could be introducing again another new feature to this KOTOR game that it didn't have back in 03 but it has in this remake that players enjoyed in a different series made by BioWare that Aspyr could do with this remake and make this game a lot better and get people invested in the game to do, you know what? I'm gonna do another playthrough. The same playthrough I did with this character, I'm gonna play through it again, gain more levels, gain more things, and be able to be invested in this character and do another playthrough. So anyway, just wanted to pitch that idea. I would love to see that happen in this game. Again, as somebody that is invested in KOTOR and wants this game to be successful, and I want Aspyr to be successful with this game, I want to see different improvements in this game to keep the replayability alive for it. So wanted to pitch this idea. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about it? If somebody from Aspyr is watching this video, 1, I appreciate it. 2, hope the game is going well. And 3, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this idea of being able to introduce this replayability in this remake. Let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great rest of the day. Look forward to talking to you guys all next time.